That's you.
I thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
I kind of know your answer, but because you don't talk about other clubs. But what are the things that go into, let's say, Chicago Fire signing a player like that? Just the bullet items, not specifically Chicago, but what do you go into signing 1 year deal a player like that? What are you looking for?
Well, okay, this is a little bit of a trick question because I can answer it in a couple different ways, right? So over the course of the league's history, we've signed, the David Beckhams, the Henrys, the Schweinsteiger. We've signed some guys, on the north side of 30, and they've come in and done well. I mean, there's been some success, but there's also been some failures too. So there's a little bit of risk. Now, having said that, there's risk signing young DPs too. So, however Chicago wants to kind of, play their cards, I mean, that's up to them. I think our solution, our kind of the way we're going is we're happy to have Clint and Deuce and Oba and Deuce and some of the other guys that we had. Freddie Youngberg was successful. But we're steering away from that a little bit. We want to get a little bit younger with our DPs. Nico was a good example of that. So, again, it's just how Chicago views, their strategy and how we view ours is just a little different.
And you're trying to get younger for the long term, the sustainability. Is that why?
Well, I think the money that's being paid nowadays is you can get a guy in his prime. You can get a guy who's like Nico, who played at a lot of big clubs, and you can do it that way. You can develop players. I mean, you guys just interviewed Ozzy. I mean, Ozzy's a tremendous player. We had him from day one, right? And he's up there in stature within the league. So it's just how you want to play your cards.
To a league that has lowered the average in age and that has started to lose the stigma of being a retirement league and bringing all these older players. Now with the Almirons, the Blancos, the Martinez, do you feel like this is a step back by getting a player that's aged and has a big name?
Look, if he comes and kills it, good for Chicago. But again, like I said, there's risk. I mean, Beckham was a success, I think. He was a little older. Henry, you could say, was a success. He was a little older. So it depends. I mean, the outcome is never right away when you sign it. We can't make observations now. Ask me that question at the end of the year.
How do you view S2's role in the organization, and how much attention are you paying to guys that they're signing?
A lot. Ezra and I have a good working relationship, and we talk daily about players and training and how he trains and how we train and the nuances between the two. Scheduling is tricky because he's got to focus on his games. I need certain things on the first team on training days like today. So there's a lot that goes into it. There's going to be a lot more, hopefully, cohesion between the two groups. And bringing that one layer lower, I think, within the academy as well, because Ezra depends on the academy, and I'm going to start calling up academy kids as well. But, which academy kids, which players, bypass S2 players that are doing well. All of those things we're going to discuss in great detail to make sure we get as many decisions right as we can.
How is O'Neal Fisher doing? Is there any update or timeline on his injury?
No timeline. Sorry, Ari.
It's okay. Have you gotten any word about Jordan?
Yes, MRI was done. Nothing major. Ankle sprain. Dinged up his ankle.
So he's going to play as far as
Well, I don't know. That's a question for Bruce.
With the Necaxa game coming up, what are some of the things that you want to see, some of the younger players that you want to see in that game?
Well, because of the absences of the guys that are in the qualifiers, it's a great opportunity for Henry Wingo to get 90 minutes. Jordy DeLem, an S2 guy that we signed. Mathers, S2 guy that we signed. Those guys are going to get a lot of playing time. So for those guys, it's good. For Will to get 90 minutes, because he hasn't played 90. Getting Harry a little more minutes on him, because he had an ankle injury in preseason, so it'll just be good to get everybody a good run out.
How much preparation goes into a friendly game in regards to
It's
maybe
not friendly.
setting?
Gonzo's on my staff. He's doing film on Necaxa. We're treating this as a game, and we're going to watch film, and we're going to try and study them and come up with a good game plan.
So on Saturday, the number of guys on the team kind of shifted around and still excelled at those positions. Roldan, Ship. Even though those guys all have their best positions, how much do you value versatility like that as a player?
Well, I love the fact that they're versatile in those types of moments. Sometimes you can be the jack of all trades and the master of none. I don't want them to be there. I don't think I played Harry out of position. I know he was a little deeper than most you guys might, or people might think that he couldn't, but I think he can play there. I think he's a good two-way guy. Christian going out to right back, that was a bit of a stretch. I mean, that was just, we were at home and we wanted to keep the tempo high, and I didn't want to push Gustav out there, so that was just something on the fly where that versatility does, make an impact.
Is that position for Ship a place that you kind of see him long term as well, like maybe moving between the positions, or?
Yeah. I mean, look, if Ozzy were to go down or Christian were to go down, Harry can slip in there. We know he can play up here. He can play as a 10. He's pretty versatile that way.
Going back to the upcoming match against Necaxa, we know your preparations going into it. What are you hoping to get out of this match?
No injuries. A good run out for all the guys, young guys and, guys that haven't had 90 minutes during the regular season. And an entertaining game. I thought the game against Red Bull was entertaining. I mean, as a soccer fan, when I rewatched it, they were pretty good in the first half. We were pretty good in the first. I thought it was a good game. So I want to make it an entertaining match as well.
How much does it add, or how does it affect what you guys can do to have a player like Svensson, who's he hit a couple switches that were pretty
good.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that do in terms of how it affects your attack and what you guys can do off it going forward?
Well, a lot of times you play the ball from one side of the field to the other to Joven or, out to Fish or whatever, and you're playing it to his feet. He could actually hit the ball towards the corner flag, and Joven could actually be at a full sprint, and he's in on goal. I mean, it creates actually a scoring chance instead of just a ball that unbalances the defense. So it's great. We talked about that, and we hope he does it some more.
Brian, go ahead.
Back to Harry. I mean, he really values the soccer ball. He really values possession. Is that something on the scouting report with him before you acquired him that you knew, or is that something you had to sit down with him and just kind of go?
No. We knew that. We knew his tendencies, his personality. But the other reason why we signed him is he scored 2 goals against us last year.
Anything else, guys?
Brian,
That was 2 years ago, actually.
as long as you're not revealing any trade secrets here, I'm really curious to see. It seems like your substitutions throughout the games in the first 3 have been brilliant. What goes into that in regards to do you talk to Gonzalo and then you talk to Jimmy and then maybe you decide to? Is there any preparation before that? You got a couple guys in case this happens.
The short version of that is, yes, we do a lot of talking amongst the staff, and we go through a little exercise even before the game. Okay, if it's 0-0, what do we do? If it's 1-0, what do we do? If it's 0-1, what do we do? 0-2, 2-0. We have a conversation about potential subs even before the game. But then during the game, we just see what the game needs, and we talk about it with the staff and Dave, and we make decisions.